What is up, Early Edge family? A very happy Thursday to you. We are Christian Okoye days away from NFL kickoff. If you want something a little bit more obscure, how about Mike Tolbert or Joik Bell? That's 35, folks. And I got to tell you, we're only 23 days away from college football kickoff. And we've got a college football preview that you are not going to want to miss today on CBS Sports Network at 2 o'clock. You can catch me, Mackenzie Brooks, Mike McClure. We've got the whole team. I'm leaving somebody out. I think Propstarz is probably on with us. But we've got Chip Patterson's going to be on with us, actually. We've got all you need to know about college football, including Heisman Trophy candidates, long shots, conference champions. We've got it all. You're not going to want to miss it on CBS Sports Network today at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Let's check to see how we did yesterday. We've had some winning days, but yesterday was not one of them. 2 and 3 overall. Some plus money plays in there, and we hit 2 out of the 3 plus money plays, so that's good. Still a losing day, 2 and 3. We try to do better today, and we brought the dream team in, folks. It's Thursday. We got Mike McClure. We got Propstarz. We got the sniper. And gentlemen, Mike, I'm going to start with you. We've got football starting today. I'm talking not training camp. I'm talking helmets and pads and a lot of backups, but football nonetheless. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. See, it's the first day of the month. It's August. We have football now until February, so cannot be more excited about that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the Hall of Fame game. Usually to me, the Hall of Fame game is actually more entertaining than some of the preseason games. So I'm in mostly because of that, just longing for football, and it's finally here. So I will actually be watching this game tonight.
Yeah, watching and betting on it. We've got some picks for you on one side of the ball. Propstarz, 2 things. One, how did the draft go yesterday? I know you had the dynasty draft. And 2, Mike McClure just said today through February, we have football. That's got to get you super excited.
Extremely excited, Sia. I'm fired up. We finally reached NFL, at least some iteration of it. So couldn't be more excited about that. Dynasty draft went well. Opted to go upside, playing the long game here. Producer Jake had a really interesting draft. I felt he drafted first overall. Opted to go Jamar Chase instead of Justin Jefferson. I think Jake has a really good win now roster. I'd love to post these rosters so the chat and everybody at home can take a peek and see who they think did well.
All right. Rick Funcannon, Sniper, listen, I know you're a baseball guy, but Rick Funcannon likes the Bears tonight. You got to like that your team, with all its new toys. Now, granted, the new toys won't be out on the field today, but you got to like how they're featured right when the season starts, given that there's a lot of energy headed their way from a fan standpoint.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool to see the level of hype, between being on Hard Knocks and then getting the Hall of Fame game. Obviously, they've never been on Hard Knocks. They were one of the few teams now with the star power with Caleb Williams and Rome there and everything. Really exciting. So I just want to say we're Neil Anderson days away from the NFL regular season.
Yes, if you have a 35 that you like, that's one of those numbers that not a lot of people get. It's usually like in the low 30s, or obviously we've covered a lot of the 40s and 50s. I'll raise Sniper. I'll go Aeneas Williams. How about that? That's another. I was really proud of Joik Bell, by the way. That was what I was really for. These Detroit Lion running backs never end up getting off the ground for whatever reason, or at least the last 20 years they've had some issues getting off the ground. But Joik Bell was a decent running back. All right, let's get to some decent plays. Probably let's get started. We got football today we want to talk about, but first, and we got some Olympic plays too. We got an Olympic play, I should say, in the swimming category. But Proppy, you've got a baseball play. You're targeting the Orioles, but not in a way where you're fading them necessarily. It's the guy going against them. What's your play today?
Not in the traditional sense. Yep, Sia. I am going to fade the Guardian starter Ben Lively, going under 17.5 outs, fewer than 6 innings pitched for Lively, which is a big number for Lively, even in a neutral type setting. He's failed to eclipse this in 12 of his 18 starts this season, but this is all to do with this Baltimore matchup. Tops in OPS in Major League Baseball, 774 OPS, second highest OPS against opposing right-handed pitching. So from a matchup perspective, doesn't get much more difficult than the Baltimore Orioles, who have been phenomenal. The offense is red hot. They've scored 39 runs over their last 5 games. playing super well right now. So I think 6 innings is a big ask for Lively, regardless of the opponent, but in particular when you're facing an offense as potent as Baltimore.
Yeah, I like the play. I'm certainly big on not fading the Orioles. The bats certainly came out to play yesterday as well. Sniper, I know we're not at your pick yet, but any thoughts on the Orioles or fading Ben Lively?
I like the play. It's a good play. I don't have any argument here.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like the Orioles bats got going. I'm intrigued by Jackson Holiday getting a taste of the bigs and then getting sent back down. I kind of talked about this yesterday multiple times on HQ, and that baseball players need to have confidence to the point of cockiness because it's such a sport of failure. But for someone like Jackson Holiday, who had never really experienced failure before, maybe internally, he's been humble on the outside and very professional, but maybe internally he kind of thought every level was just going to come easy to him, and then got humbled a little bit at the big league level, made some tweaks in the minors. Now he came back. Now he's ready to hit the ground running. We saw it with Trout. We've seen it with guys like Anthony Rizzo, Alex Gordon. Sometimes they need to experience the majors, experience failure, go back down, and then come back.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. And if Jackson Holiday gets it going, I mean, listen, we were already kind of had the alert on for the Baltimore Orioles in terms of this is a team that can absolutely contend. But if they get any help with the bats or the pitching, they're going to be a force. And it wouldn't surprise me at all, or anybody really, if they are the AL representative in the World Series. Let's talk Olympics, and I want to get to some of the picks and some of the comments in the chat, so I'll do that in a little bit too. Big Cheesy says Orioles -1.5, certainly consistent with the play that Propstarz gave out. Swimming, we're going to swimming women's 200-meter butterfly. Regan Smith is plus 500. This is at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. Again, Regan Smith is plus 500 this afternoon in the women's 200-meter butterfly. That is the SportsLine pick. Not afraid to give out a plus 500 play. If you want to make this bet or any of the bets you hear on this show, go right to BetMGM. New BetMGM customers can sign up today and get up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $10 and you'll receive up to $1,500 instantly. If your bet loses with bonus code EDGE, that's bonus code EDGE, EDGE. I can also vouch for the fact that BetMGM has a ton of boosts for free tokens or so many different promotions for the Olympics, for golf, PGA or Olympic golf or what have you. So make sure you look at that. They make it extremely easy for you to see what the promotions actually are. Not all sites do that. So just an FYI, repping out BetMGM there. All right. Well, we got to rep out a partner. So we'll be back with some picks right after this message. We are back on the Early Edge presented by BetMGM. I know that Propstarz was dropping off. He had somewhere to be. That's why we went to his pick right off the bat. So I don't think he'll be back with us, but we still got most of the dream team. Sniper, it's a weird MLB slate, Thursday MLB slate.
Yeah,
what I mean by that? Yeah, only 5 games. I was a little surprised by that. I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason to it, but we still have picks to give out. You still have 2 picks you really like. You got a side and you got a prop. So I don't know if you want to speak to the 5 games. That might just be a random scheduling thing, or maybe there's something I don't know.
It's a Thursday. Mondays and Thursdays are light sometimes.
Fair enough. So we got the 5-game slate, but you got a 2-pick slate. What is it?
Yeah, first I want to address something in the comments. Somebody said something about a comparison Mike Trout to Jackson Holiday. I wasn't saying Jackson Holiday is Mike Trout because I just said Alex Gordon and Anthony Rizzo in the same breath. Was I saying Anthony Rizzo is Mike Trout? Was I saying Alex Gordon is Mike Trout? No, I was saying these guys are top prospects who got brought up, got beat up, and got sent back down to the minors and then came back up and played well. It's just what happens to guys. I didn't say they're the same type of player. I didn't say Holiday's going to be Trout. No, he's not. In all likelihood, he's not going to be. Anyway, let's get to the plays. I'm going to go with Braves on the run line here. They're playing essentially a AAA team. The Marlins were already one of the worst teams in baseball, and now they completely gutted their team, which I don't think was a bad move, by the way. When I say gutted, I know there's a negative connotation of that, but they were so bad. It made sense in a seller's market to go crazy with selling all your players in front of the trade deadline. Max Meyer on the mound for the Marlins. He has talent. He's a good pitcher. So that helps us get this at plus 100 here. The Braves have actually won 4 of 5 since they were scuffling for a little bit. And those 4 wins came against the Mets and the Brewers, who are playoff caliber teams. The Marlins are not. Most likely scenario here is a multiple 1-run win by the Braves. So they're going to take care of business here. The other one, I'm just going to ride the hot hand with Bobby Witt. I mean, he just concluded one of the best months that we've ever seen in baseball history. He leads the majors in hits and runs. He has 76 RBI. The Tigers started today as to be determined because they just traded Jack Flaherty, so they've got some shuffling to do there. It's going to be interesting to see what they come up with. But Bobby Witt Jr. hit .489 with an .833 slugging in 23 games in July. 44 hits, 22 RBIs, 26 runs. He's a student of the game because he just averaged 4.0 hits plus runs plus RBIs per game in the entire month.
Wow. By the way, I got to say that there's a lot of comments. First of all, Eric David says, love when Sniper gets frisky. I kind of do too. I didn't even see the comment where somebody was, subtly criticizing a comparison that wasn't a comparison at all. Like this bothers me a lot as an attorney as well. When you give people context, but they refuse to take the context and they just take the 2 buzzwords they heard and they make their own narrative. Your response, but there's some people that were happy with your response, and also they're happy with your shirt. What is that shirt?
Better Call Saul.
Love it. Good show. Can I ask you, is Better Call Saul? Sorry, I didn't even give you any rope to respond to the first thing I was talking about, but I want to change the subject real quick. First of all, Mike, have you ever seen Better Call Saul? Are you familiar with that show?
I'm moderately familiar with it. I have not watched it all the way through, but I've seen probably 5-6 episodes total. So
have you seen Breaking Bad?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually got this shirt when Breaking Bad was on.
Oh, that's interesting. Fair enough. What's a better show? Because I think there's a right answer here. Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad?
Breaking Bad's my all-time favorite show. I love Better Call Saul, but I like Breaking Bad better. But I also think since it was the original, it gets a little bit of a nose lead there.
I totally agree. I think it's Breaking Bad. I think a lot of people were kind of like prisoner of the moment-ish when
recency bias when Saul was on. Yeah,
exactly. Anyway, if you have an opinion as to whether or not Bradley Jacobs says Breaking Bad by far. I mean, I can't disagree with that take. It's a very good take. I like your takes as well, Sniper. Hopefully people will like Mike and my take. We both have plays that are similar, but I'll just give out mine first. And I do want to mention, if you haven't already subscribed to Fantasy Football Today DFS, please go ahead and do that, because not only do I appear on that show with Make Shout, but before we get the Sunday slate, usually on Fridays, and we'll get the schedule down soon, me and Mike are on that show, and we give out our favorite plays, our favorite stacks for NFL DFS every single week. Most of you in the chat already know that. Most of you in the chat are already subscribed. You've already reviewed the podcast, which we certainly appreciate. But do not forget, not only will we have the NFL content starting week 1 with Mike McClure, but I'm going to have some special guests on to break down some preseason stuff. We already have pricing out for week 1, so we're going to have some fun with that over the next few weeks. You're not going to want to miss all of the content that's about to come out on FFT DFS. Make sure you're dialed in there. I'm going to be dialed in on Snipers Bears tonight. I'm going with the first half, and this is the preseason. I totally get it, but I do like to pinpoint certain things. And if I'm getting a +0.5 in a game where we already have an extremely low total, I think it's in the 31-32 range, and I'm getting a +0.5, I understand I'm paying some juice here at -122, but I just love the fact that I'm likely, and I don't know this for a fact, I'm likely getting Tyson Bagent for a half, or at least most of a first half, who I absolutely love, and who so far in training camp has not only impressed reporters, but impressed his own players as well. I like that I'm going to see him a lot. On the other side of the ball, we got some veteran quarterbacks too, like Davis Mills. Maybe we'll see Case Keenum in the first half, probably some Davis Mills. But either way, I really like Tyson Bagent going out here at home. The Bears, not necessarily trying to make a splash. A lot of the starters are going to sit, but I like how this sets up getting the +0.5 in the first half. Give me the Bears. And Mike, I know you have a play that's very similar to mine. In fact, you submitted your play first in all candor, and then I saw when I submitted my play, you had a very similar one. So what's your play?
It's going to be the Bears here, but I went full game +1.5 now. We saw some market movement on this, not a ton, but definitely some when you saw the fact that Caleb Williams and company were not going to play in this game. With him being a rookie, there was talk that he could maybe play a series or something. But now that they have been ruled out, I think the market is overreacting to something that frankly doesn't mean anything. So getting points in this particular spot, I like Tyson Bagent. I would love to see Case Keenum play. I don't know if Keenum's going to play in this game or not. He missed some time with a little injury. They kind of already know what they have there, but he might. But what's fascinating between these two quarterbacks, these two are all-stars when it comes to college football. Did you know these two are 1 and 2 in terms of career passing yards in all-time college football? Tyson Bagent leads in Division II. Case Keenum led in FBS, but most touchdowns thrown, Tyson Bagent out of all divisions. Case Keenum second there. Just these guys were absolute legends in college, but Tyson Bagent is obviously younger, and I like what I have seen from him. We've seen him have the ability to be mobile, to run around. We've seen him win games already at this level, at the actual NFL level. So I think there's just a little bit of bias baked in here with Caleb Williams and everyone being excited about the Bears, and then to have the excitement kind of taken away. There's no chance that any of those guys play. But I do think that there's a lot of good energy on the side of the Bears, and I think Tyson Bagent is absolutely treating this like it's a very important game. I think he gets a whole half in this one. And then after that, I think that they have a little bit of an edge. I know that it's hard to say whether or not these games matter to anyone on the field, but I think it matters just enough here. And the fact that you're getting points with the Bears, I will take it. The only thing I will mention here on this is a 0.2 unit play. It is not a full NFL week 1 kind of play. So more of a sprinkle than anything for most of you out there, but I do like the Bears to win this game today.
Yeah, and I think that's good advice too. Maybe we're not putting a full unit, but Sniper's putting on a Bears hat. Sniper, are you inspired by our picks here?
Very, very. You guys did a heck of a job. I was excited already, but maybe I'll actually watch a preseason game for once now.
You know, one thing about Tyson Bagent that I do think is important, which applies to both of our plays, is Mike, I do think, listen, all these quarterbacks have something to prove. They're playing in the Hall of Fame game. Of course, they have something to prove, but I think Tyson Bagent is more likely to kind of go all out of structure, right? When the play breaks down, you're probably not going to see Davis Mills, Case Keenum just like letting it all hang out like a Tyson Bagent is going to. And honestly, I've been so impressed with what he's said so far in camp. And then, listen, that's a little bit of like the coach speak, quarterback speak stuff. But I do think we're going to see Tyson Bagent make some plays, not just with his arm, but with his legs as well. And I think that could be the difference when you're talking about the margins so tight here with getting a +0.5 in the first half or +1.5 in the full game. There were some other questions in the chat. Mark Hood asked, how's my round 1 matchup looking in Olympics golf? I didn't have a round 1 matchup actually, but I did have Colin Morikawa over Ludwig in the tournament matchup. Bad start for Colin, but he's battled back a little bit, I think. We almost hit the first round leader, Valimaki, or at least it was looking like we might at 90-1. Looks like he is faded as well. And then it was probably 1 or 2 other questions. I know Eric David was asking, if I bet on NFL DFS, does that make me a DGen? Not if you think there's an edge, and that's the bottom line. Mike, can I ask you real quick before we bring up the recap screen? Because I know some people do DFS for these preseason games. I dabble in it as well. I kind of looked at the slate today. I haven't looked at it too hard, but is that something you dabble in? Is tonight a night where you're rolling out a squad?
I haven't decided if I'm playing it tonight. It's possible that I do. If you do, just really focus on the backup quarterbacks to the starters. Even I'm talking about Austin Reed potentially, and then the defenses. I think both defenses are in play. The thing that should stand out obviously here is a total sitting at 31.5, and a lot of these we typically go under in. It's more like a scrimmage with essentially a running clock is what it feels like typically. So yeah, looking at unders, but looking at teams like team defense, things like that. Definitely there is an edge. It does require either a little inside knowledge and a little bit of luck, but definitely can be an edge if you have some insight as far as how long anyone's going to play.
Would kickers sort of make that same argument as defenses, since you kind of know they're going to be on the field? They're not going to be swapped out necessarily.
Yes, generally kickers are right there as well, especially if we have some uncertainty in terms of skill position players like pass catchers, right? So like someone kicks a field goal, that's going to be the same thing as someone with two 2 catches, 15, 20 yards. Like it's essentially the same thing. So yeah, I like the kickers definitely in play.
All right. Kickers, defenses, maybe some quarterbacks. Well, definitely some quarterbacks and maybe a position player or two. It's a boring lineup, but that's how you play games like this. All right. Let's check out the recap screen before we get out of here. I've got the Bears first half plus a half at -122, and Mike McClure's got the full game plus 1.5. Propstarz, Ben Lively under 17.5 outs at -135. The Sniper, Braves -1.5 at even money. Bobby Witt Jr. over 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at -120. And SportsLine pick this afternoon, women's 200-meter butterfly final, Regan Smith to win it at +500. Nathan Pike says Sniper is the GOAT. Absolutely love that. Brock Newsom says, I really like Dameon Pierce or Demetric Felton at captain. Oh, that's an interesting play. Yeah, some of these second, maybe third string running backs, maybe you want to go deeper on the depth chart behind Dameon Pierce because he has less to prove than some of those other guys. That's sort of the mindset you got to consider when you're talking about who's really going to play in the second half for a lengthy period of time. Can't wait for football today, or I should say tonight at 8 o'clock. We're 35 days away from that, 23 days away from college football. Please do not forget at 2 o'clock today, we're breaking down all things college football, including Heisman Awards, long shots, short shots, conference champs, you name it. We're covering it with the crew that you want to cover it with. CBS Sports Network today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Extended version, college football style of the early edge. Ladies and gentlemen, what a show. On behalf of Jake the Snake on the ones and twos, who somebody said in the chat, I think it was Japan, said hey, he's going to win that dynasty draft. On behalf of Propstarz, who was also in that draft, Sniper, and of course, Mike McClure. This has been the early edge. We'll see you at 2 o'clock, folks. I'm the Counselor of Cash. We rest our case.